Hello, everybody. My name's Marcus Clark. I'm going to be doing a session on English, Maths and Foundation Learning. We're just going to wait a few minutes because there's a few more people turning up. If anybody, if hopefully you can see my screen, blue screen, maybe someone could just write in the chat just to confirm that they can do that. And also just a reminder that if you've got any questions, if you put them into the chat, I will answer them, but I'll probably answer them at the end, so it won't necessarily be as I'm giving my presentation. Hopefully that's okay. Okay, we've still got a few more people coming on, so I'll just wait until the participants don't go up anymore, and then I think we'll make a start. Okay, so it looks like we've kind of stabilized with the number of people joining. So again, good afternoon, everybody. Well, hopefully it's not a very good afternoon. It's very, very wet, but hopefully none of you got caught in the showers. So just to introduce myself again, my name is Marcus Clark. I'm one of the managers at Barnet and Southgate College, and I'm responsible for Maths, English and Foundation Learning, and I'll be going through a presentation explaining more about each of those. Obviously, if you've got questions, then please put them in the chat box, and what I'll do is I'll look to answer them at the end. So what are we okay, so these are the sort of three areas that I'm going to be discussing, and it may be that there's probably only one area that you're interested in specifically, but I will be covering all three, and hopefully it will give you some idea of the sort of general nature of the courses that we're running for English and Maths. So firstly, we run English and Maths courses for 16 to 18-year-olds who are joining actually other courses in the college. So it could be business or childcare, engineering, construction, you know, the whole range of courses. But if that young person hasn't yet passed a GCSE at grade 4 or above, then they are required to retake their maths and their English. So it may be that you're interested in learning a little bit about that, or you might be from the family as well, so you might be interested to know. The second category is adults that wish to take part-time courses in English and Maths, either at GCSE or functional skills. So I'll be talking about a little bit about how that operates. And then lastly, which is kind of different from the two above, because that's not around specifically around English and Maths, is 16 to 18-year-olds that want to join a foundation learning course, which is called Bridging and Move Up. And actually that has English and Maths in it, but it also has other vocational elements in it. So I will be also discussing that a little bit. Okay, so what do we offer? So if you're on what's called a study program, so that's where I said if you're joining another course, you know, business, childcare, media, art and design, something like that, but you have to retake a GCSE, that's because you haven't got currently the minimum grade, and you'll be required to study either the maths and or the English, depending on how well you've done in your GCSEs. And the way it operates is, if you say got a grade 3 in either the maths or the English, then you would study GCSE again. But if you say got a grade lower than 3, then you will be enrolled on a functional skills course. And the good thing about functional skills courses is they're similar to GCSEs, but they don't cover quite the range of the curriculum. They probably actually only cover about half of it. But they do go up to, so level 2 is equivalent to a GCSE, so they can be up to the level of a GCSE, but they have lower levels below that, going down to level 1, E3, E2. So it really, the course and the level will depend on where that particular learner is in terms of where they would start on that. If you've, for instance, say got a level 2 already in functional skills, then you would then be studying GCSE for the next year. As it says here, functional skills helps you to get the skills and the knowledge that you'll need for GCSEs later. So the idea is that you would say study functional skills first and then move up to GCSEs. The classes for the study programs are 3 hours long, usually split into 2 sessions, an hour and a half each. And you know, all of our staff are fully trained maths and English teachers, so it wouldn't necessarily, like occasionally in schools you might end up with a teacher teaching a subject that's not really their background. That's not the case at the college. All of the staff for both English and maths are specialists in that area. Now, also adult students take English and maths, and those qualifications are done on a part-time basis, and those classes are daytimes, particularly functional skills. There's quite a lot of classes at Wood Street in the daytime, but at other sites, daytime classes are usually restricted mostly to Saturdays. So at Collingdale and at Southgate, usually the classes are in the evening or on a Saturday, and occasionally there might be one class in the day. GCSE classes tend to just be evenings and Saturdays. So, for example, at Wood Street, which is the area, the site that I manage, the maths classes are on a Tuesday evening, and the English classes are on a Thursday evening. So, so that does allow some people, if they want to do both English and maths, to do it on alternate on a Tuesday and on a Thursday evening. And we do a lot of adult work. So as it says here, adult English and maths is a big part of what we do. Again, the maths classes, sorry, the GCSE classes are 3 hours long, but they're just usually done in one block of 3 hours, because we understand that it might be quite a challenge for you to come twice a week if it was an hour and a half. So it's just once a week for 3 hours. The functional skills classes for adults are 2 hours, and that's both in the day and in the evening. Okay, so the exam board that we use for GCSE and functional skills is Edexcel. And there's a great kind of range of resources to help students there, including kind of marked exam papers and things like that. We also use a lot of combination of online and PC resources. Now, this year, I don't know, some of you may be already engaged in some learning this year, and you probably would have found that there have been times when you've had to go online for that. That being no exception at this college. There's so we've actually got quite experienced at delivering online teaching, and in certain cases, maybe for adults, sometimes the online learning has worked well. It's offered a different opportunity, because you know, sometimes there are things that you can't attend classes. You know, there could be childcare or other issues, work related issues, that make it difficult to get into class. And the online has allowed particularly some adults to engage more fully. Also, it's been we've learned how to sort of upload and have resources there. So if you did miss a lesson, it was much easier to catch up and see there. the aim, hopefully, is that we can go back to full face-to-face teaching, and we think that face-to-face teaching is definitely the preferred model, but the experiences of delivering online, I think we will still try and use where it's needed. So online delivery, and I think people's ability to engage with an online delivery has improved a great deal over, well, not only just this year, but the last year as well, where some of we also had to deliver online. Examples of the PC resources. So we've got things like BKSBs and a diagnostic package, Maths Watch used for maths particularly, YouTube, most people are familiar with YouTube, but there are obviously lots of helpful videos on there. My Maths is another package. iLearn is often where some resources are kept, but in fact, we're probably moving over to a package called Teams, which we've used extensively this year. And I think students and staff have found it quite an easy and intuitive package to work with. Extra support is available. So learning support to help with a range of learning difficulties, assistive technologies. We also have English and Maths learning coaches, and they're based in the LRC, the library, so you can go along and book sessions with them to sort of get some one-to-one help. We run revision sessions as well, and as I said, there are extensive resources for English and Maths available. Okay, I'm going to talk about now the Foundation Learning Study Programme. This study programme is aimed at 16 to sort of 19-year-olds, and it's aimed at those students, say, that haven't got the 5 minimum GCSEs that are normally needed to, say, study at a higher level. Higher level would be, say, a level 3 type course, so a BTEC level 3 in business, or it could be A level, something like that. Also level 2 programs, sometimes from school, people don't meet the requirement even for level 2. So the idea of this program is to help people that haven't got the results that they hope for from school, but need an avenue to get onto a course, to eventually go on to courses that they hopefully will study in the future. So our bridging courses are run at Wood Street and at Southgate, and they offer what's called a BTEC Level 1 Vocational Studies, and we also offer GCSEs courses as well. And we call it the bridging course because the idea is that it's a bridge between where you're currently at and where you want to go. Now, the BTEC Level 1 Vocational Studies, what that contains is it's called vocational studies because it includes different kind of units. There's either 5 or 10 unit model we use, but they're a mixture of different types of units from vocational areas. So, for instance, at Wood Street, we've got one group where you have to do a mixture. So you've got to do, there'll be some IT, there'll be some media, there might be some art and design, there'll be some business. And if you say you're interested in business, we can put you into one of the courses which has a few more business units. But if you're interested in media, you can, or art and design, then we'll put you into a course that just has a few more units there. But the idea is to do a range of different units, because it may be the case that you're not really sure what it exactly is you want to do. And it gives you an experience of what it's like to do a BTEC qualification. So then the idea is that after you move on, you can, what a BTEC's like. You've studied at a level 1. So if you pass your level 1, that automatically guarantees that you could at least go on to a level 2. Now, we've got sort of really kind of 2 levels of bridging course at Wood Street, where we have a functional skills course where you would do functional skills, maths and English, as well as the BTEC. But you would, and usually you would need, well, in those cases, it may be that you've got no qualifications, or you've only done a very small range of passes, with kind of 1s and 2 grades at GCSE, and that will be a good starting point for you. And the aim there would be to maybe move on to a level 2 program the following year. But we also have some GCSE courses at Wood Street, and they include, so there's one which actually has 4 GCSEs. So one of them is English and Maths, and Media and English Literature, so that's 4 GCSEs, and another one is Business, English Literature, English Language and Maths. And the idea there, to get onto one of those courses, you at least need, say, a grade 3 in either the Maths or the English, preferably both, really. But the idea there is that you would be able to, if you can pass the 4 GCSEs, then that would usually be enough for you to maybe go on to, say, a level 3 program. Or maybe it's a level 2 program that you'd ultimately be aiming for, but you'd also still be doing the level 1 vocational studies. So even if you don't get all of your GCSE passes, you'll still be able to progress to a level 2 program. At Southgate, they also have a GCSE class where they just do GCSE Maths and GCSE English, and they also have some functional skills Maths and English ones where they're doing a certificate. So it's a slightly smaller program in terms of what you need to cover there. So, and they have what's called a Move Up group there, and that's more sort of aimed at entry-level learners. So it might be that, say, particularly if you've been kind of had a lot of support at school, that might be the more appropriate group for you. So we've got a wide range of courses from sort of middle entry level for those who often have a lot of support in their groups, up to these GCSE classes where the not the aim for all the learners, but certainly for some of the learners, is to actually then move on to a level 3 program after that. But and as I said, students that do require extra support, we certainly in the functional skills classes, we've always got an additional support teacher in there to help, and anyone that has what's called an educational care plan, we will absolutely meet whatever needs that you have for that. There is also a Back on Track course, although I suspect if you've joined this session, it probably wouldn't apply to you. That's really just for learners that miss out for whatever reason in, say, September to get on courses and find that they haven't got a particular course, or it could be that they did enroll on a course and it wasn't right for them. We run a course which actually starts in January, and that's basically a kind of a bridging course, but a kind of cut down version. And again, ultimately, if you pass all of that, you will go on to say a level 2 course at least, and possibly even level 3 course. Okay, so some of the sort of questions you possibly might have. So will functional skills qualifications help me progress to higher study or employment? Most employers, colleges and many universities will accept level 2 functional skills instead of a GCSE. And we do have, say, particularly adults that join say Access or full-time adult courses, level 3 courses that join us. So even though they're on a level 3 program, an Access program, looking to go to university, say the following year, they might not have the background to do the GCSE, but they could do the functional skills. I would say though that when you join say an adult Access type course, the Maths and English does not come as part of the program, so you need to sort of come along as a part-time learner to English and Maths and join up. But hopefully the tutor, if you're joining one of those courses, will also remind you to do that. Okay, are foundation learning study programs only for students that need extra support? This is the bridging courses. So if as I said, that it's a very wide range, and some of the courses like Move Up often have a lot of students that need extra support. The functional skills level bridging courses might have 1 or 2 learners on average that have a little bit of extra support, but the majority of students have not had support before and don't need it in their main qualification. And then usually the bridging course, the high level course, slightly high level course, then again, usually there's not anybody in there that needs sort of extra support. Right, can any adult enroll on GCSE English or Maths? So right, any adult. So if you have a level 2 functional skills or a GCSE grade 3, you can enroll on a GCSE English and Maths course. Actually, this where it says without an assessment. So what that means is when you come along for, say, GCSE Maths and English, you do have to do normally an assessment for it. But if you've got a level 2, because we need to make sure that it's the right level course for you. It may be that the functional skills might be a better course to start on rather than the GCSE. But if you've got a level 2 or a grade 3, then you'll automatically be upset. You would automatically be accepted. We will actually ask you just to do an assessment if you're doing maths, because the reason is just to help us put you into the right level of GCSE, because we have higher level and we have foundation level. And I better just quickly explain the difference between those for maths. So foundation level GCSE maths, that means you would be studying from grades 1 to 5. So 5 is the highest grade you can get. A 4 is what's considered a pass, and obviously 5 is just a little higher. But GCSE grading goes up to grade 9, which is sort of equivalent to, if you're used to sort of letter grades for GCSEs, then that's equivalent to a sort of actually it's almost the A star. The A is a star. An 8 is an A star. So at the higher level, it is graded from 3 to 9. So usually you would have had to have done a fair bit of maths probably beforehand and be fairly confident if you were going to be put into a high level maths group. It's also possible if you're doing a 16 to 18-year-old doing sort of daytime classes as part of your main program for GCSE maths, that you can also study at a higher level, but it wouldn't necessarily be in a separate class. And then I should just add that for GCSE English, there isn't a higher or foundation paper. It's just one paper, and they mark across the full range of grades. So they mark from 1 to 9 from there. The other thing I should note here is that if the English and Maths qualifications are free, as long as you're a resident in the UK, then they are free. The only time it wouldn't be free is if you've already got, say, a grade 4 or better, or a grade C or better previously in GCSE, then you would have to pay for that, because the assumption is that you might be wanting to improve it for a particular reason, but if you've already got a 4, then I'm afraid you would need to pay for that, and the rough figure is around £800 for that. But for anyone else that's never you can have studied GCSE, that's fine, but as long as you haven't got a grade 4 or better, then it's free to you. And again, it's same for functional skills. So as long as you haven't got a grade 4 in GCSE, you can study it for free. Okay, so lastly, how do I enroll? So main enrollment starts on the 23rd of August, and it runs till the 4th of September. It's usually a drop-in sessions from 10 till 6. The reason I've just put usually in there is that last year when we did it, we had to sort of comply with social distancing. We had to ask people to sort of book a slot to come in, so we didn't have too many people in at any one time. We're hoping obviously that we won't have to put that in place for this September, but even though that we did put that in, if people did walk in off the street just off chance, we were usually able to help them. That also includes Saturdays, so there's a Saturday session usually from 10 till 2. Then after that point, there are late enrollments from the 16th to the 17th. Now, usually what that means is it's usually conducted say from between 4 and 7, so sort of late afternoon, early evening, and it's a couple of sessions at each site, so it's not all the time. And after that point, enrollments are still possible after that date, but as long as there's still places available. Generally speaking, if you come August to the early September, there'll always be places in virtually all of the classes. So sometimes, so you'll probably get your full range of options there. But after after the 4th of September, certainly some of those classes will be already full. So there will still be places in the college without a doubt, but it may not be always at your preferred time and possibly not always at your preferred site. And then the later the sort of enrollments, the more difficult it becomes to offer an option. Usually by October for the GCSE, we usually don't take any new students after October because you've usually probably missed too many sessions for you to easily catch up. And same for the bridging. Again, if after October, middle of October, we're probably unlikely to take new students on there. For the bridging classes, the same thing applies about availability. If you come by early September, then there's usually not an issue about placing you in any class that it is suitable and you desire. After that point, some classes will become full. There's usually a place somewhere, but again, it might not always be in your preferred class, and it might also not be at your preferred site. Functional skills, usually we've got some places available put into November, so late applications aren't usually a kind of an issue there. Now, you can register for courses by going to the college website. Now, this doesn't mean that you've actually enrolled, but it's the first stage of the process. And if you do register, then the college knows that you're interested in and probably send you a reminder about when to come in for interviews. At the moment, because of the current situation, we haven't started any interviews this side of the summer term. And I can't yet absolutely promise that there will be any available. So that's the reason I've really directed you to from the 23rd of August. But if you have registered, then you'll still need to come in for the interview. And if you're particularly doing the GCSE, you'll need to do an assessment, and then you need to complete the enrollment fully. Okay. And then just lastly, so there are 3 managers, one based at Southgate, one based at Wood Street, so that's me, Marcus Clark, and one based at Colindale. Peter is the Southgate manager and Owen is the Colindale one. So if you have a particular preference for a place, then it's probably worth contacting the specific manager. Okay, so what I'll do is let's go to the questions now, and let's start from the beginning. Okay, so you want to register for functional skills. Sorry, let's first one. Okay, is it possible for adults to join GCSE full-time courses? So, well, actually, full-time courses. Full-time courses are, if you're an adult, you would actually still join an evening class or a part-time class, because actually they're the same length. They're both 3 hours. You wouldn't, as an adult, you wouldn't find yourself in a GCSE class with 16 to 18-year-olds. I want to register for functional skills. This is the right place. Yes, it is. So I would just direct you to the website, and if you just when you go there, just type in functional skills maths or functional skills English or bridging or whatever you want, and then that will take you to the point where you can apply. Is functional skills level 2 the same as GCSE qualification? Are you on the same level? Okay, so I briefly mentioned this, but let me just say again. So so take universities. Some universities won't accept a level 2. But there are many universities that do accept a level 2 as equivalent. So they are roughly equivalent, but in a GCSE you will probably study twice the number of the content will probably almost be twice as much as a functional skill. So while the questions you answer, say in a level 2, are as hard as a GCSE, say grade 4 or 5 student, you won't have covered as much. So that means that's why, say, certain universities won't always accept it. Most courses, if you're looking to, say, progress, so let's say you were looking to progress from a level 2 course in a college to a level 3 course, and they said we want English and maths GCSE 4, if you came along with a level 2, that would be absolutely equivalent. Okay, can adults do the GCSE course if you do not have any past academic qualification? Yes, you can. So you can just come in and you just do the assessment. And what would happen is you do the assessment for maths or English or both, and then we'll let you know whether you think you've got the sort of background skills based on that assessment to do GCSE. If we think you haven't yet reached that level, we would suggest a functional skills course as a more appropriate course. And as I said before, the functional skills helps you to build up to the GCSE. Okay, excuse me. I need any documents. I want to know where to sign. Okay, so again, go to the website and you can sign up. On the website, it will kind of tell you when you just sign up. You don't need any documents for that particularly. You will need, when you come in to enroll, you will need some documents, so proof of ID and stuff like that. Okay, when we do the foundation, are we able to study any other courses, for example, psychology? So if you're doing a foundation course, so if you're doing English and maths as a part-time, then often people are already studying other courses alongside of those. So there's no barrier to doing that. If you're coming to do, if you're coming to a bridging course, then the English, the maths, and all the units are all contained within that one course. You wouldn't go off and study anything else other than that. And likewise, if you're studying, say, a vocational area like business level 2, something like that, then that would be your main course, and you'd only be studying the maths and or English on top of that. Okay, can over 20s join the course? Okay, so for part-time classes, you really need to be 19 and upwards. Okay, so 19 and above is what you need to join a part-time course. If you're 20, you could join a part-time course. If you're 20 and you want to join a full-time course, you'd need to really go and speak to a particular curriculum area to see whether they could accommodate you. So for instance, if you were 20 and you came to us and said, I would like to do a bridging course, there are some exceptions to this, but on the whole, we would say, no, it's probably not the right level course because you would be actually with 6-year-olds. There are some exceptions to that, but I think the important thing to do is just go along to the course area that you want to, that you're interested in, and just explain your situation, explain your age, and then they'll let you know whether they think you're the right age. But as I said, if we're talking about part-time courses, 20-year-olds, absolutely fine. Right, I got a C in my maths using the Cambridge exam. What number is that? Okay, yes, so that is equivalent to a 4. I think that, and if you wanted to redo that, I think that might be a problem. I'm not sure about it depends how long ago that was. So again, I would maybe advise you to come into the college and just check at enrollment time, say, this is the qualification I've got, would I still need to pay? If it was recently, I mean, a CNAS would probably have been about at least 4 or 5 years ago. But there may be a time limit on that one. What if you have level 3 functional skills? Well, okay, there isn't a level 3 functional skills now, and there never has been level 3 functional skills. There was a level 3 key skills, which were quite a few years ago, and that's kind of equivalent to level 3, sort of like A level type levels. If you've again, I think if you've got that qualification, you're unsure, then the best thing to do will be to when you come in to sort of look to enroll, bring in that information, and we can kind of have a look at that one. Does the same thing required if I failed science? Okay, so it makes no issue. So if because it's just English and maths, the only things that we're looking at is your previous English and maths qualifications. So really, whatever's happened in your science doesn't necessarily have any kind of impact on that. Does Barnet and Southgate College doing science GCSEs this year, please? If I know you explained English, right? So There is a GCSE science package. It's not actually specific in my area, and there would hopefully be a webinar around that. That is really aimed again for probably younger learners, so 16 to 18, 19, possibly 20, and it's a full-time course. There are no part-time GCSE science courses. So if you're an adult, so if you're sort of 20 and over, there is access to science. So if you're interested in say pursuing a career in science in some way and you're 20, then your best avenue route there is to inquire about access to science. Okay. How about level 1? Yes, so I want to improve English and Maths and go to University of Future, but I'm pretty sure that I'm in the level 1 too. I'm wondering to know, is this okay? Yes, absolutely. So functional skills, I mean, most of our learners would, well, it could be E3, it could be level 1, it could be level 2. We don't have separate classes for those because it is possible to teach the different levels. I mean, it's a bit like the difference between someone having a grade 1, a grade 2, and a grade 3 at GCSE. That's roughly the difference between E3, level 1, level 2. So yes, absolutely, no problem. If you feel that you just want to start improving, say, your English and Maths, and it's your future goals are 1 or 2 years, a few years away, that's not a problem. Can I join also vocation course, for example, teaching assistant? Yes. So any courses that are available, say if it's adult, you can join the adult. You can join those adult courses like a teaching assistant, an access course. I mentioned the access to science recently. Yeah. But what you do is you join that course separately, and then you come and visit the English and Maths team, and then you join that course separately. It's not like the 16 to 18-year-olds, because so when they join business level 2 diploma, they don't need to come and see English and Maths because they will be automatically enrolled on the English and Maths if they need to redo it. Is there available GCSE English full-time course? So no, we don't have a full-time course. It's only part-time. So it will only be once a week for 3 hours. Okay, how do you apply for full-time courses? So again, go onto the website. So if it's the bridging full-time course that you're interested in, go to the website, type in bridging, and then that'll bring up a course, and then you just apply. Is the functional skills 3 months course? Right, so functional skills, so let me just explain. GCSE runs for a full year. It starts in September, it finishes in June when there are exams, and all the exams happen, well, end of May, early June, and those are fixed exams, and you've got to do it at that time, and that's the only time you can do it. Functional skills is a more flexible course. We can actually order exams at any point. So it is possible to do functional skills in a shorter time. You could do it in 3 months. Very occasionally, we don't do it that much because there isn't always that much demand for it, but occasionally we might run some early exams in December, early January. But what we normally do is we normally have, say, exams in March, and then we do some other exam, and then we sort of do second exams around June time. So it is possible to do the functional skills in a shorter amount of time. Which universities accept level 2 English and Maths for law? Okay, so I wouldn't have a specific list, but I would say broadly speaking, what we call the Russell Group universities, so those universities that require the very highest grades for entry would normally want GCSEs and probably wouldn't take level 2. But those courses, universities that accept, say, lower grades for entry would normally accept a level 2. So, for example, if you were doing, say, an access course at the college, and there were certain universities that accept the access course, those universities would also accept the level 2. Okay, so I've got to say, well, which level should I be? So I think the way we find out what level you're at is that you come in and you talk to us, and you tell us what you've done before, because that's a very good guide to how we know what as a starting point. But then we give you the assessment and we give you an idea, and then usually what happens is, you know, it breaks down to, well, should you be on GCSE or should you be on functional skills? If you're on the GCSE, then essentially you're aiming hopefully for at least a grade 4, and that's the level you're going to be pitched at, and that's what the class is going to be pitched at. But once you're on a functional skills course, it may be that you're looking for a level 1, but it may be that the teacher thinks you could cope with level 2, or they might say, no, I think entry 3 would better start. So when you join a functional skills course, your level still hasn't yet been quite determined, and you'll a bit more time and a bit more sort of assessment, and the teacher getting to know you will help to determine what level you're at. How should I register functional skills? Are you going to refer us, or should? Yeah, so can you go to the website? Yeah, and so the date to start from is really the 23rd of August. So really, it's any of those dates from the 23rd of August is the best time to come in. Right? Is it online or face-to-face classes? So so the classes that we've had in the last few weeks have all been face-to-face. So we've been back face-to-face. We did have a period where we had a mixture of face-to-face and online. So half the class was face-to-face and half was online. And then we had a period where everything was online. It just depended on how things were happening and what instructions we got from the college and, you know, from the government, in effect. But the idea will be to go back to face-to-face. But as you can tell, over the last sort of 18 months, things can change, and we just have to adapt to that. The good thing is that we've now got really a year and a half's worth experience of how to sort of deal with online if we have to do it online. And there are, as I said, some benefits to being able to do online. And it may be that there are occasions when you can't come in, but you could engage with the lesson online. And I think that is something that we would still want to keep as an option. I'd like to study English and Maths for my first time, but I'm struggling reading and writing. Well, look, don't worry, come in. If you want, you know, if you just want to improve your reading and writing, and some of you may have, say, for instance, experience of ESOL courses, but you think it's time to sort of move up to a sort of different level, then just come in. As I said, we've got different levels to suit each person, really, so not a problem. I started a level 3 in childcare, and my setting asked me to do English and Maths. Yeah, so this one slightly depends. So if you're on a level 3 child course, it depends if you're an adult or if your age is 16 to 18, because if you're 16 to 18, your childcare course should actually provide the Maths and the English for you. It should be part of the actual course. That's your whole program of study. But if you're doing a level 3 child course, and say you're you know, 19 or 20, or 20 actually, rather than 19, you'd still get it provided. If you're 20, it might be that they don't provide the Maths and the English as part of that, in which case you could come along and sign up to a part-time course, one of our GCSE part-time. Would I have to go to college directly to apply for it? No, so you can initially apply just on the website, but that's just an application. It just lets us know that you're interested. It's not an actual enrollment, so you're not going to be enrolled unless you've actually come in, had an assessment, and then shown your documents to show that you're qualified to join the course, and then given an official receipt. Okay, so the applying online is just giving an indication of that you're interested, and also it means when you come in, you've done the first part of the sort of enrollment process anyway. Okay, so I've been to university at bachelor degree for teaching. Do I need to do GCSE to work as a teacher in the UK? Okay, so interesting one. So you've already got a teaching degree. I'm not 100% sure on this one, because I think what you'd need to do is if you looked for, if you were applying for a job, for instance, see what it says. It depends whether your qualifications are counted as equivalent. I would, I'm not sure of the answer, but I suspect the answer would actually be yes, you probably do need a GCSE, because you're going to have to prove that certainly you have the English ability to communicate with the learners if you were teaching. So I think probably the answer is yes. Yeah, so is GCSE available full-time for beginners? So no, we don't have a full-time class. It's only one session a week for 3 hours. Marcus, if I undertake functional skills, English and maths at level 2, can I join a computing course? I'm age 22. Okay, so you, because of your age, I'm not sure about the computing courses are probably aimed at 16 to 19-year-olds. Now, that doesn't mean that you could possibly go along and go and speak to the IT department and explain your age and your circumstances. It might be possible to join a full-time course there. I'm not. I can't think of IT-specific IT courses aimed at adults specifically, say to get to university. But if the English and maths, certainly I would encourage you to come in and start with the English and maths, and let's get you on a course for that, and then see what's available in terms of the computing course. It may be that there are courses, for instance, at other institutions that you could join eventually if you once you got, say, your level 2. Okay, yeah, someone's just come back to me. They're saying they're a level 3 course and you're an adult. Yes, therefore you would, right, it might be, if I presume therefore it's a level 3 course which is all for adults, so they don't have to provide the maths and English as part of that. So, but you can just come along and ask for just come in and join as a part-time. Right. Okay, hang on, I just want to check I haven't skipped anyone here. Right, got a degree from 79. So look, obviously your past, whatever your past academic experience, someone saying they got a degree from 1979, it's basically your past experience plus your past academic background obviously have an impact on that. So it depends what you're joining, and whether it's, well, if it's English or maths. I think ultimately what we would do is we do an assessment, and then we'd see what level would be appropriate for you. Particularly with the degrees and things, that we have a number of people, say for instance, that often have say a degree, say in quite a science background, but haven't, say, got a UK qualification, and join a maths course just to get that qualification. But in certain cases, you know, that they've often studied these things to quite a high level. But so it's not uncommon to have some students doing that sort of thing. How do we sign up for G's? Is it waiting on next meeting? No. So look, I think, how do you join? So look, I would suggest go onto the website, sign up, and then look to actually just come along from the 23rd of August. It's basically, it's drop-in, as I said, and you just come along at a time that suits you, and there'll be people here to meet you. And normally the process probably takes, well, it depends what you're doing, but let's say 45 minutes to an hour for each qualification. So, you know, if you were going to come for maths and English, it could take about 2 hours to complete the whole process, something like that. Right, adult completed Masters in India. I'd like to improve my speaking, listening. Okay, so right, that's an interesting one. So this is about speaking and listening skills. So there is an element of speaking and listening in functional skills, but it's not the main thing that we practice. It's really the reading and writing. So particularly, say you've done ESOL courses before. One of the reasons to do the functional skills is that we spend more time on the reading and writing, while ESOL courses tend to sort of split roughly between the 3, speaking and listening. If you particularly want to work on your speaking and listening, I would suggest a a ESOL course, and actually you can just join a speaking listening, which will be sort of one term. You wouldn't need to do the reading and writing. But in terms of functional skills, there is obviously speaking and listening in these classes, but we're not working on that specifically. I've just checked the website. They didn't provide any functional skills. Can you not refer us to the right department? So there should be, if you type in functional skills when you go onto the website, it should take you to there. And what you do is you just select one of the courses. I would say there it has like Wood Street, Colindale. Actually, it doesn't really matter which one you click on. Well, it's probably best to click on the one you think you're most likely to attend. But by clicking on that particular course, that's not committing yourself solely to that course. It's just letting us know who you are and the fact that you have some interest, and also which site you'd probably like to attend. Can I retake my Maths and English GCSE while doing an A-level course? Yes, of course. Yes, you can do that. Not a problem. We do have some students doing A-level courses, and they are redoing Maths and English as well. What's the highest grade you can get in functional skills? So you can get, so the highest level is level 2, and that is like a grade C. And it's only a pass and fail. So you don't, in functional skills, you just pass or you fail. Not yet there, I would say, but it's not graded, so you don't get a functional skills level 2 grade 5 or something like that. It doesn't exist. It's just past level 2 or past level 1. I have high school from Sweden apply. Should I study it again? I have high school from Sweden. It depends. It depends whether the okay, so someone's asking about the qualification they've got at the moment. Do they need to study it again? So I guess they've got an English and maths, but it depends whether that qualification allows you to do the next level, the level that you want to do. So if you want to go to university, you need to check whether that's the right level course. So for instance, we get, say, students coming in and wanting to, say, study on a level 3 course, and they've got some qualifications from the country that you're from, and sometimes they are what's called equivalent, and you can go there, but sometimes they'll say no, you need to go and study Maths and English first and get a UK qualification. So with these sorts of things, what I would do is if you want to go to a particular course, you go to that particular course, have an interview with them, take along the qualifications you've got. If they say there's an issue with, say, the English or the Maths, then come and see us and we can look to enroll you on the English and Maths. Okay, right. I think that is the last of the questions. Don't think there are any more. So unless anyone's just rapidly typing a further question, I hope that's answered all of your questions. And I hope that you've now got a better idea. You've hopefully you can have my email, which should be available to you, because I think this recording is going to be saved for you. And then if you want to email myself or Owen or Peter at the other sites, we can also we'll answer questions individually. Anyway, thank you ever so much for joining. I hope that's given you enough confidence to come along and join up for one of these courses. And I hope to sort of meet some of you in person in a few months' time. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, and have a good weekend. Goodbye.